Welcome once again, everybody. Spinner Racks in the house. We're talking about Vikings. I know we haven't been there for a while, but Vikings is back. And if you are a Game of Thrones fan, you gotta watch this. Today, once again, we got the incredible
my name.
Calvin Ellis.
Calvin Ellis.
And PD, a.k.a. Prime Minister, wasn't able to make it today. But hey, we'll see you soon, PM.
Yeah, put the drink down, PD.
He's having a lot of fun. That's all I gotta say. I had our party the other day.
Yeah, make it rain.
So, the season 2's in, 2 episodes down, and all I can say is, it's off the hook, Dude, my favorite character is once again taking care of things. Ivar, we know he's gonna be badass. I've been saying it from the beginning. That's the kid we need to watch. That's the bad man himself. Bjorn's doing his thing. Yeah, he's gonna go to the Mediterranean, hook up with Rolo. So be it, so be it. But Ivar, bro, the man himself, back on. You know,
this is a show that I think both of us vibe on because both of us are, we're both history buffs.
Yeah.
If you guys didn't know, we're both history buffs. We talk about history off the show. So this is one of the few shows we can get where we can actually agree on a whole bunch of stuff because we love to see the history played out. Now, they do take some liberties with stuff. Like, we know that Rollo and Ragnar, they lived in totally different times, okay?
But they did a good job.
They did a good job. They did a good job with that whole thing of making Rollo a straight bitch, because that's exactly what he was for turning against his brother, okay? I've never seen a guy.
He had to be his own man.
He moaned the whole time, when is it going to happen for me? But the only way it was going to happen for him was to turn over his own brother. So we see what Rollo was all about. Rollo was about himself. But that's fine. He got what he wanted. What really surprises me is the depiction of the sons. Bjorn, we already know is going to be loyal to Ragnar, but it's at the same time loyal to himself. And Ragnar's not going to contest with him because he's the son of Lagertha, who is his greatest love. So he's not going to contest with him. Okay. The other ones are the sons of Aslog. And because of the sons of Aslog, okay, I wanted to see what his connection would be over there. But to be honest, with the exception of Ivar, and Ivar, I mean, I don't like the way I really feel they chumped him. And, making this dude like, oh, man.
But that's one aspect of them, by making him
because Ivar...
a pendejo is what I would call it. But
more like a cabron.
A cabron too, but what I'm saying, yeah, I agree with you there. But other than that, his depiction, the slyness.
When you read the history, okay, they said, okay, yeah, he does have like the inability, and the legends talk about, him boneless and so on and so forth. That can be interpreted so many different ways. Exactly. But to make the dude impotent, I was just like, look, that took away, especially when you're showing him as this visceral character and on so many levels that he can fight. I didn't really know if that was necessary, and a lot of times they love to do that. Oh, let's make this dude suffer by taking, we're going to take away his junk, and that's how we're going to make him suffer, and that's how we're going to do character development. It doesn't really work for me at the end of the day because he's not a character historically or on the show who's going to be based about how many chicks he's shagging. He's supposed to be this really good warrior in spite of the fact...
And leader.
Okay, in spite of the fact of his inability, and then they compound it with this.
I know. That is the one thing I got to agree with you 100%, Cal. The kid has a disability, and the fact that he grows to become a leader of men...
Should be more important.
I mean, that is something. I mean, you don't hear about this. Probably the only other person I've heard in history, one of the few, I've heard a couple, but Ziska. From Hungary when he was having those wars out there for religion. I thought that was pretty interesting there, where the man is blind and he's winning wars and battles. But here, come on. I mean, did we really have to do this to Ivar? No, I think the problem is they're trying to show him how bad he is, how horrible he's going to be. And, I mean, they're foreshadowing something in the future.
Because, I mean, the history doesn't really... I don't think the history shows that he has any descendants. So they might be wanting to play around with that. But Ivar's total fate is actually unknown. There's actually a story of his death, but in between like the last recorded story and his death, nobody knows what happens at that point. And then it's like, I mean, we have the scenes where Odin comes over, takes away his pain, and if I remember from the earlier season, it was just shown that one leg, it was only shown that one leg was shriveled, not both, so I thought it was just one leg. And now they made it to 2, and then of course, they got to go over there and affect his junk. I did like the scene with him and Margaret where she tells him, look, it'll be easy to kill me. It'll be easy to just to be like one of these regular guys. It's going to be very, very hard. It's going to be very hard for you, okay, to surpass your father's fame, to make a name for yourself. Okay, and that, I guess that is, that's the only saving grace for me, because I just really didn't like that scene. But in comparison to Sigurd, to Uba, those guys are bitches in comparison to him. Some straight bitches. The father comes back, cuffing him, this, that, and the other. It's like, you want to be king? You want to be king? The only one who looked like he might have been willing to do it was Ivar, and Ivar would have never crossed him because he told him, "No, this is our father."
Exactly.
It's like, who are we to cross him for any goddamn reason?
Exactly.
Okay, this is Ragnar Lothbrok. We've never walked a mile in this man's shoes. He's the only one who seems to be able to understand that. And I love that scene. Everybody else has refused him, and then he's sitting on the throne. Ivar sitting on the throne, which again is foreshadowing of him being a king himself. And he goes over to him and says, "Like, so when we go." He's like, so at least I can have one son with me. He's like, hey, look, don't talk to me like that. Yeah. I want you to invite me the same way
you asked
my brothers. He was like, Ivar. He's like, of course I'm going.
The actor they picked from, great. I think they picked the right guy. He has the right tone and voice. He talks like his father. You know, I think that is a great job they did in doing him. But again, you're right. That whole thing of emasculating him, you know, I think it really wasn't needed.
Yeah.
You know. Probably just didn't want to bring him up too great. Probably they'll correct it. You know, this is a show. Probably he'll find a potion and he'll get fixed later on. Who knows?
For a character like that, I hope, because for me, he's already, you know, look, he's already going to have a whole bunch of challenges, and to foist that one on him, and I'm like, for what purpose? I can understand if it's conducive to the storyline, like he needs to sire children or something, right. But it's not conducive. It's not. It's not part of the historicity. You know, I mean, look, even then, his nature isn't, I can't even say his nature is vicious, because he wanted to kill the girl, out of pride and out of embarrassment.
And he should have. Because she wouldn't start talking. They all found out about it.
Yeah, but hey, at the end of the day, look, he realized, look, he's going to have to deal with this one way or another. Okay, he could kill her, but eventually he's going to have, why aren't you messing around with any babes? Okay, so he does the right thing. He does the right thing, and at least I think there's a part of him that's honorable and noble in the fact that he understands that he's going to have to take this harder road. It's not going to be easy. Okay, his brothers definitely have an easy road, but if we look at the history. Who does the history really big up at the end of the day? It's Bjorn. Bjorn's legend actually surpasses Ragnar's at a certain point, and Ivar.
Okay, well, I think they were in different places. I think because Bjorn goes back to Scandinavia,
right?
Whereas Ivar goes to England and makes his fame there. I mean, he was him and what was it called? The Great Heathen Army will become so famous in England for crossing across England and devastating it. But people forget that he was also in Ireland, and it took a long time for them to connect that Ivar in Ireland, the king of Ireland or parts of Ireland, was also the same guy who was running the Great Heathen Army, because Uba was in England. And it's very interesting how they connect all those things and how they divided the whole thing. So
I took inspiration from that from a story that I was writing, where this one character is controlling whole this territory in the north, but he's also controlling all this other territory in the south as well. And when they look, they're like, who is this guy? And everybody makes the connection. It's just one guy controlling everything. He's like, oh, we thought you were in control. He's like, no, I'm not in control. It's that guy over there.
Exactly.
And if he ever finds out there's anything bad, even though this is like, this is older time when you got to go by ship and rowing and everything, they're like, look, it doesn't matter if it took them a month or 3 months to get here. We don't want to. It's like it would be the last 90 days of our lives. So we're going to do exactly what this guy says in terms of exchange and so on and so forth. So it's great to see that history played out. But again, who's the star of the show? Ragnar Lothbrok, from start to finish.
But you see, I'm so freaking disappointed. I'm missing it. Cal, tell me, how long was he away from his family? They sacked Paris. He came back. He left. How long was he gone?
He had to be gone long enough. If the youngest child is Ivar, okay, and when we last saw Ivar, he can't be more than 4 years old, and he's grown now. He's at least 18. He's gone
16 in those situations. Let's say 16. At least 10 years, I figure, right?
At least a decade.
So where the hell has he been gone to? That's the thing that puzzles me.
I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned with so much that, because we know this is TV magic. They did that so they could grow up the sons that much faster. But Travis Fimmel, his portrayal of Ragnar is spot on. I love the way he's done with the character. I love the interaction between him and Catherine Winnick, Lagertha.
Oh, yeah.
That whole sequence where the two of them part, and she knows, look, this is probably the last time she's going to see him. And I love that sequence where she says, I'm certain that most women understand what I'm going through, to want, to not want it, and to want it at the same time. I love the interaction between them, and then they ruined it with the whole lesbian stuff. And I'm like, when the hell I was like, why is every damn woman, especially the strong women,
yeah, exactly,
they're always a freaking lesbian? I'm tired of this feminist BS that they want to sink into everything, that for some reason a woman has less power if she's with the man. No, the big love story is with him. It's not with this other chick that she's sucking face with. It's with Ragnar.
But she
The
does
chemistry was
but
there.
she did say that. She said you took, when she was talking to Aslog, that she took her husband, basically. You know what I'm trying to say? You know, he didn't love you. And that's true, you know, and she still loves Ragnar, no matter what she says.
And that's good. That's a great romantic aspect.
You know
I'm a big fan of romance in the shows. That's a great romantic aspect. You get to see the chemistry between them. It's just a great scene. Okay, and then for me, they cheapen it by throwing this, like, look, anyone else with Lagertha is going to be lower down on the list. And the thing is, we have not seen her with any women up to this point. Why out of the nowhere?
I know.
You know, it's like a trend. You know, it's like, you know, okay, we
well,
got to hook these chicks
She killed
up.
her last 2 husbands, so, you know.
So the only women are brave enough to come over and try something now?
I'm just saying, it's a little scary.
No, come on. I think this is, look, it's the low-hanging fruit. You know, this is what's trending right now. We can always put a woman with another woman.
Look, I got to say one problem, though, that I've had with Ragnar. I think especially last season when he had that whole thing with the Asian lady. I thought
that was a total waste of a character. A total waste of time.
Waste of time, waste of a character. And Ragnar, the continuation of, like, you know, he's like out of sorts still. Where did Ragnar go for 10 years?
You're going to have to let that go. You're going to have to let that. You're not going to get it. You're going to have to let that go.
How did the kingdom maintain? So Bjorn was basically king for the last 10 years.
No, I would think that Bjorn probably did some stuff, but Aslog was, I mean, that's a power-hungry chick right over there.
Yeah, but they said
But between the two of them, they've changed Kattegat into this major place of, you know, commerce.
You see how large the sale has gotten? The fleet, oh my gosh, that fleet, Bjorn's fleet, is humongous.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the first episode. They only had, what, 1 or 2 ships? Now they have, like, a whole armada, you know? And they're going to the Mediterranean. I expect Bjorn's storyline to be
again, this is why Bjorn's legend is so big, okay? And the historicity is there with Bjorn, so, you know, that's pretty much, you know, impeachable. But, you know, what happens in those, look, that's TV magic, okay? Because to be quite honest, by this time, Ragnar should be dead already. Okay, he should really, you know, I thought they were going to do it earlier, but I hope they do it because I don't want to see them drag it out. It really should be now. If they're successful with doing this, they'll make a successful transition of power. And I would love to see the stories of Bjorn, Ivar, a little bit less on the other side since they're a bunch of bitches. I would love to see that story played out without these guys having to end it, you know, to take the time to build up the other characters. I'm really interested in Bjorn's story because the guy who's played him is, you know, he's had enough time. He's familiar with the cast. And also to see the final fate of Ragnar as well. I think he deserves that sort of ending after, you know, a really good try.
I like Bjorn, but is he as charismatic as Ivar, the guy who's basically sitting in the chair?
They're 2 different characters.
I know, but I'm just saying, you know, you're going to see this character who, this is the first time we've ever seen him. He comes on set and he just raps it. You know, come on. He's just the same way like Travis. He just came and he just took it. And if he develops the way he's doing here, he's going to really dominate.
The catalyst for Bjorn, okay, Ivar already has his catalyst. He already has his struggle, and, you know, that's already foisted upon him. Bjorn, to be quite honest, is never going to have that so long as Ragnar is alive. That's why he's not going to England. That's why he wants to go to the Mediterranean.
Exactly.
He'll stake his fame there and he'll get it. When Ragnar dies, okay, the revenge that Bjorn takes.
And his brothers.
It's Bjorn at the head of that whole thing. The revenge that Bjorn takes, okay, is so tantamount to complete and utter destruction. I can't wait for him to get back to Wessex and find the guy like, hey, no, bring yourself out here. Yeah. That's when we actually get to see him. One of the best sequences that I saw with Ragnar and Bjorn is that Bjorn's going up and he's trying to fight, and Ragnar's watching. He's like, I'm not getting involved in this because, you know, I have a different plan. I'm just waiting. And then it looks like Bjorn's, you know, in trouble. And Ragnar's like, what? And he climbs up, starts fighting with him and everything. Ragnar, it's almost like as long as he's alive, Bjorn has something to fall back on. Even in those 10 years when he's not there, Bjorn has something to fall back on. With Ragnar out of the picture, not only does he have this impetus to go out over there and not think about fame, okay, but just to think about revenge, which in itself is going to bring him so much renown.
Right,
but you got to get there first.
But what does a Viking want?
Fame.
Exactly, for your name to know. Isn't that the same thing that Achilles wanted? You know, so your name will be remembered. Your name will be in the sagas, and that's the most important thing.
Well, hey,
we
got to go.
Spin a rack out. It was a great time. Have a good one, buddy.